our last hot off the press news story, and it's weirdly linked to our first story, just unintentionally. So, this is going to make you laugh. Da 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 da! The Flash's Andy Muschietti reportedly directing The Brave and the Bold.
So do you remember when I said he made a brave and bold statement? So go on.
Yes.
Hit me with it.
Dude, I tried so hard to not laugh when you said that. Okay, here's how it works. His current DC movie, The Flash, hits cinemas next week. But from the sounds of a report by One Tech News, director Andy Muschietti is sticking with Warner Brothers' comic book universe. He's apparently going to be tackling Batman Tale, The Brave and the Bold. Announced last year by James Gunn as part of his first run as co-CEO of DC Studios, The Brave and the Bold will follow Damian Wayne, who is Batman's actual son, who we didn't know existed for the first 8 to 10 years of his life. He was raised as a little murderer and assassin. He's a little son of a bitch, Gunn said of the character. He's my favorite Robin based on the Grant Morrison comic books run, which is one of my favorite Batman runs. And we are putting that all together right now. From the sounds of it, the new movie will introduce more of the Bat family to the live action sphere than has ever been seen before. Muschietti has been receiving positive word on The Flash, including from Gunn himself, but we'll still wait and see whether this is confirmed or denied by the CEO filmmaker. So, of course, at this point, AJ, this is all news. The thing I'm really curious about is I'd like your thoughts on what we can't say if Muschietti is a good fit for Batman, having not seen The Flash, in which he's got 2 Batmans playing, so hopefully that turns out to be good. Just remember, this is the guy who did the It movies, which I personally hate. But The Flash is supposedly great. Like, it's getting great pre-reviews. The audience at CinemaCon went nuts. The part which I'm interested in your take on, because remember, we live in a very, very little bubble of geeks here, right? The wider cinema stratosphere isn't necessarily going to be plugged into the what's going on in the realms of who's directing what and what Batman is what, right? Let's also remember, there's a little actor called Twilight Boy who's playing in a very successful The Batman franchise at the moment, of which they are planning many more movies. So while James Gunn has kind of said those Batman movies are going to continue and here's more Batman movies with a totally different actor, do you think this is going to create confusion?
The minute I heard the story, that's the instinct I had. I, who am familiar with Damian Wayne, wasn't even familiar with the fact that that falls under Brave and the Bold. And this is a guy who loves Batman. You know, this is who I am, but I'm a casual. I've always said it. I'm the comic, to quote the end of tech, but I've always said it before. I'm the comic book fan who's never read a comic book. And what you need to look at is with the whole revamp, and I believe that Gunn has an interesting link with this director. I'm not a fan of it. Within 10 minutes, I disconnected. What I believe is an issue is what we had hoped with James Gunn at the helm was, and is it David Zaslav? We were hoping that a lot of this stuff was going to get put aside and let's look at continuity, because it was a common soundbite from everyone. You didn't know what DC was on. So now I was expecting a timeline that would do it. So yes, you can have the Flash timeline and the Batman one, and somehow, especially because it's Flashpoint, somehow make it merge and make sense. You know, you could make something happen. To now bring in Batman's son when I'm in Batman Year One phase, it is not the right time. If you was telling me that this was going to be phase 2 of the DC universe, I mean, put it this way, in Marvel, phase 4, we're seeing the younger generation. If you wanted to speed it up a bit, no pun intended with the Flash, and make it your phase 2, by all means. But there's no way we have a young Batman and Batman's 8-year-old son in the same universe coming out in the cinema at the same time. Utter confusion.
Yeah. I very much second that. And again, I highlight the point that we live in a very, very small bubble of geeks here. To us, it will make sense. And even to us, it's a bit like, whoa. So there's 2 Batmans. One's in this gun verse and one is like in its own separate verse. Like he has said that the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix will continue to be made. it's going to be a separate thing from his universe. The Batman with Robert Pattinson will continue to be made. It's a separate universe. But the thing is that people aren't aware of these universes. People just see the labels. They see DC, they see Marvel, they see Star Wars, right? That's how they associate with them. So, yes, you can explain to people that this is its own separate thing. It's not part of like some continuity that Gunn is creating. But just yesterday, when I went to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I was with my boy Louis, and they played the trailer for Blue Beetle, which does look good. But even Louis, who's pretty plugged in, looked at me and went, "Is this James Gunn's first movie?" So on that, you can see, yes, he's aware that there's this shift in power at DC, that Gunn's coming in. But even someone who's semi-plugged in isn't clear, but where's the start of this? You and me know it's Superman in 2025. But even now, before it started, there's confusion. So I love the fact that we're getting a Brave and the Bold storyline, but I'm terrified about the confusion it's going to cause.
Can I just bring it to a point of Marvel really quickly?
Do you need to go big screen on this?
I mean, you can do. We'll go big just to be on the safe side. People are confused as to why Spider-Man and Venom are not on the same screen. How on earth are you going to give me 4 different versions of Batman? For 2 different types of speedsters and all different versions of Superman going on, and then expect me to follow through? We thought X-Men was bad. This is worse in terms of trying to follow one in continuity. It's an absolute mess. And that's the one thing I hoped DC were going to change.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. This is the Batman seems to be this one little caveat that they can't quite work out, because they struck gold with the Batman. Audiences. I know you were kind of on the lesser scale compared to me on that one, but generally, audiences loved that movie. There were problems. No one thought it was perfect. People were comparing it to The Dark Knight, which you should never do because it won't be beaten. But people were very much like, okay, this is good. This is a good DC movie, in a pantheon of really, really bad DC movies. This one stuck out as like, this is the good one. So people like this, and James Gunn clearly liked it, which is why he wants to continue with it. It is confusing. I'm kind of just of the opinion he should have just brought Robert Pattinson into his world and played from there.
Merge the universes. Again, I don't want to quote CW, but at one point you had Flash and Arrow in one universe, Supergirl in another. By the end of it, they were all on Earth 1. Just create one Earth that people can follow. Then get into your multiverses. Don't just expect us to understand a multiverse. Flashpoint will not fix it.
I don't know if it's a multiverse. I think he's very much saying it's not connected. They'll never be connected. It's a separate thing. I don't think you're ever going to see Pattinson in Gunn's world.
I tell you why it's difficult. Are you now telling me that at no point is Gunn going to look for a Justice League movie?
He will, but it'll be with the Batman in The Brave and the Bold, not Pattinson.
Right, so there we go. So it's not even following Damian Wayne's story. We are going to legitimately, for this now, bear with me, we're going to have Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson. But this is all going to be seen on screen within the next 5 to 10 years.
Take this from the top again. We're going to have...
So we're going to have Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Robin Pattinson. Sorry, let me get those all into the screen. That's 3 Batmans. Then you're going to tell me about a Brave and the Bold with a 4th Batman. At which point, each of these guys are able to have their main nemesis, the Joker, and then you've got the Joker universe on top. And I, who loves all of this, is confused as fuck. The casual fan is going to follow this easily. I doubt it a lot.
Yes. And hence the question, is this confusing? Answer, yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes.